Hello everyone. In this episode I will show a new redesigned version of my BassBuddy sequencer called BassBuddy 2. The BassBuddy is a project that I did a couple of years ago after I finished the Erica Synth's bassline DIY. I needed a simple sequencer for it, so I made a design based on the Arduino. However, the BassBuddy had a couple of shortcomings, so I have been planning to make a redesign of it using a much more powerful RP2040. This will make it possible to add more features and refine a couple of the existing ones. Alright, but what is this BassBuddy sequencer all about, and what can it do? It's basically a small 16-step sequencer that can output 1 volt per octave between 0 and 5 volts. It also have a gate and a couple of more CV signals that you can feed directly into a bassline DIY. But you can of course use it with any other synth module if you prefer that. What is new about the BassBuddy 2 is that it actually has 2 individual sequencer or tracks, so it's possible to play both the bassline and a lead voice. It still has the small OLED display, encoder knob and tactile buttons on the front to control it. But I have added a couple of more buttons and LEDs to improve the user interface a little bit and make it less menu-divey. The 1 volt per octave are implemented using dual PWM conversion, and I experimented a little bit with filtering to reduce the ripple from the PWM frequency. You can see this on this Falstad simulation. I added a couple of LEDs to the design, and while I was writing the driver software for the LEDs, I chased the bug, and after staring at the code for 30 minutes or so, doing small changes to try to track down the problem, when I suddenly remembered that I actually have a logic analyzer for my oscilloscope. I hooked it up to the breadboard and found the problem directly and fixed the bug in less than a minute. So, good tools are helpful if you remember to use them. Alright, but let's dive into the schematic diagram directly and I will explain the design. Okay, so this is the schematic diagram of the main board of the BassBuddy 2. And if we start at the top left side, we have the trigger inputs here with some protection circuits for the microcontroller. So here we are converting the input signal to 3.3 volt levels. That is suitable for the RP2040. Down here we have the man-machine interface with some LEDs. These are the dual color LEDs and these are the regular ones. And we have some buttons for inputting commands. And we also have this encoder switch here for setting values and moving around. And here we have the OLED display. If we move to the right side, here at the top we have track 2, the second sequencer, and it has a gate and CV outputs. And one thing that is worth mentioning is the 1 volt per octave output here, where we are using PWM or dual PWM. And for the CV we are using regular PWM. Track 1 is an identical copy of that, but we have also added the accent and the trigger outputs, so we have a little bit more functionality on track 1. Finally, down here we have the power section with a power input connector and some protection and filtering, and the 5 volt conversion here. And up here we have the RP2040 prototype board. This is not the Raspberry Pi Pico made by Raspberry Pi Foundation. This is my own design. And I have a separate video for that, so which I also mention in this video in other places. But hey, the main PCBs just landed on my desk, so let's have a look. The main PCB looks fine, I think, but I clearly made a mistake with the panel PCB. The LED apertures on the PCB looks great on the front side, but I forgot to make an opening in the solder mask on the back side. Oh well, I guess that we'll have to fix that by scraping off the solder mask. But this is kind of tedious. I think that we need to bring out some power tools. Okay, this works much better. It's not beautiful, but it will do the job for me. Finally, we can start with the SMT assembly. I will use my interactive BOM to keep track of the placement of the component. I didn't order a stencil for this PCB, so I will solder all the components manually, one by one, under microscope. Okay, so after soldering all the SMT components, I make a visual inspection of the PCB to check that I didn't miss any component, and I clean it with isopropyl alcohol. And after that we are ready to mount all the through-hole components, starting with the component side of the PCB. There are only a handful of components on this side of the PCB. The electrolytic capacitors, power connector and header sockets for the RP2040 prototype board that we are going to add later on. So, with the component side finished, the top side of the PCB holds a lot of fun stuff, starting with the Thonky jacks. Next we mount the encoder switch, and after that it's time to add the tactile switches. Here it's good to use the front panel as a guide to make sure that they are aligned properly. Next we have the LEDs. There are two types of LEDs, regular 3mm ones and a 3-pin variant with red-green color. I have designed a LED holder for both the LED types, and the design is done in FreeCAD, so you can use it and modify it any way you like. The parts can be 3D printed using black filament. Anyway, these parts are optional, so you don't need to use them if you don't want to. Alright, so this is what it looks like so far. Next step is to prepare the OLED display by soldering the 4-pin header connector on the backside. Next you need to fit the display on the top side of the main PCB. In this case I have added a transparent lens to the front panel, but this is also optional, of course. Now, attach the front panel and carefully align the display and solder it in place. I usually tap it gently so it falls into place before I solder it, but you can also solder one pin and check alignment before you continue with the rest of the pins. Next step is to do some measurements on the internal voltage regulator. First we check the 5V regulator. The current consumption should be around 20 mA on plus 12V and 10 mA on minus 12V. The second measurement we need to do is on the RP2040 prototype board, so we need to attach that to the main PCB first. Then we can measure the 3.3V regulator output. The current consumption on plus 12V will increase to around 60 mA and the minus 12 should stay the same. Alright then, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to attach the encoder knob. And to get the correct height I am 3D printed a small insert that I press into the knob. This will of course depend on which type of encoder switch you are using and the length of the arm, but for the type that I'm using, this works for me. I will provide the FreeCAD design files if you need to adapt this for your own needs. That is about everything I want to cover in this video. The production files and the schematic diagram is available on my GitHub, and there's also a video about my RP2040 prototype board on my YouTube channel, where I go through how I build one and how to flash the software. In the next episode I will go through the calibration procedure and showcase the module in my setup. So until then, take care, and I'll see you soon again. Bye for now.